Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Degen BJJ with me, Irish Mike, and my co-host
Ken.
How are we getting on, Ken? It's just the two of us on our lonesome this week. Makes a change after the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, sorry listeners, you got put up with me and Mike again. We've got no interest in third parties to join the conversation for this week. But yeah, no, I've been all right, mate. Last thing we left off, you were heading to Limerick, weren't you? So
yeah, I was supposed to get in a training session over there, but Tom Halpin, the guy that was competing in Polaris. So
the one in Croydon over the weekend.
Yeah, so the gym was closed, and I messaged him on the Monday saying I kind of come in and train, and it was closed. And the guy who we be talking to, Andrew with the Human Jiu-Jitsu podcast, he said, "Why don't you go to his old gym?" And then I was actually supposed to go in, and life gets in the way, to do a bit of running, a few people around, and couldn't make it then. So it was a bit shit because it was going to be good content for the podcast, but. I was at Carlson's last week though, the week before that.
Yeah, you've been a couple of times lately, haven't you? You managed to pop over on Tuesdays.
Yeah, due to the work I can't get into the Mat House one, so their one is on 7:30 till 9 o'clock.
It's a bit easier to squeeze in. Just before we jump into that, the fella that you always mentioned, Human Jiu-Jitsu, he's a Limerick Globetrotter, right?
That's it, the Limerick Globetrotter on Instagram.
So it might be a ridiculous question, but is he still based around Limerick, from Limerick?
Yeah.
Does he still trains out there?
Yeah, he's training in, I think it's Clare Jiu-Jitsu Academy. I could be wrong now. Oh no, sorry, it's Treaty Jiu-Jitsu or Treaty Grappling. Sorry,
you're fantastic with the names. So.
Yeah, like don't expect me. You know as well as everybody. People that don't know me, like I have a head like a sieve, basically. So I only hold certain amounts of information, which is why my jiu-jitsu is probably so bad. But and speaking about that, jiu-jitsu being bad, I was just got hammered in Carlson's last Tuesday. Just got hammered by everyone.
Yeah, you text me afterwards. It was
just like as I say, they say sometimes you're the hammer and sometimes you're the nail, and as Lucas from Carlson says, sometimes you're the wood that the nail's getting bed into, and that's just what I felt like maybe the last 2 times I went. But no, it was good. We were doing passing. Sean White was leading the class and teaching some passing drills, techniques. Very good stuff. I'm hoping to use and surprise maybe some people in Mat House when I bring it back,
People,
Yeah, if my hip ever gets fucked.
And we were drilling last night, and one of the white belts came over to me. I think he was playing around, but he came over to me afterwards before we went into like the position of sparring. And was like, "What were you doing to Mike in the drill?" And it's like all I could hear was him like wincing with pain, and I was like, "Oh, it wasn't me. It was his hip."
Yeah, my hip was fucked. It's bad when you can't drill, like you know what I mean.
You know that's bad. But fair play to dragging yourself onto the mat. So do you know what's up with it, or?
No, actually, you know me now. I was supposed to be off the drink because I was going to compete with yourself in 24/7 BJJ at Brighton Open. Yeah, but I'd say, look, I have registration till Monday, so I'm supposed to go off the drink and all that, but I think I'm probably, if it's still hurting me Saturday, I'm just going to go on the beer, and if I've no pain Sunday, I'll register and I'll attack it anyway.
Maybe that's the issue, mate.
I just need a bit of
the
codeine isn't working. Maybe the natural, you need to get the apples from the ground, apples of Clonmel, where I was born. They might help me out. They're on Magner's treat.
A little bit of the sauce in you too.
I'm still looking for my sponsorship, by the way. I have messaged both their ads as well, which is some people have known. I've sent into the chat. I know I'm gone off on a tangent there, but
I used to do that with Guinness when I was travelling. I'd always take a photo of a Guinness in airports and I'd tag them in it. I never even got a reply, mate. I think the most I got was a like once. So
if I got a like, I'd be halfway there to more pesters than them. I might find out whoever the marketing manager's email is.
All right, if anyone knows, reach out to Mike. He's
if you can connect me up with Guinness.
Sniffing out those apples. But yeah, my last couple of weeks haven't been as interesting as yours.
How's the injury? You're a couple of knees.
Don't let them know about your injuries, mate. No,
yeah.
I've got none. Now knee's all right. Knee popped a couple of weeks ago, just training on a Friday night. But I haven't actually. I think I took about 3 days off and then just strapped it up, and touch wood. It's
you're back healthy again now.
Well, I wouldn't say healthy, but
you're never fully healthy in jiu-jitsu anyway, yeah.
We've rehashed that point so many times. Yeah. Jiu-jitsu after 30 is just a battle of different injuries. But the good news is the knee hurt so much it distracted me from my elbows. So I feel like I'm doing well. On the mats, I'm doing all right. I've started a new job, as you know, a few weeks ago, about the same time I registered for Brighton. So since our little Killarney trip, I feel like all I've been doing is grinding at work and then hitting Mat House, and I haven't been able to make the away days with you because, as I keep saying, I live a 2-minute walk from the house. So, if
everything's easier.
Yeah, you go to an hour and a half class at Mat House, I might lose an hour and 45 minutes of my day, whereas if I go over to Farnborough, I lose like three plus hours plus the pint on the way home, which often becomes 2. And then
that's what happens when you're the passenger and I'm driving.
Next thing I know, I've lost half a day, and not too much to report, but training hard and loving it. Had a few wholesome vibes on the weekend. No drinking because I've got to make lightweight, which is one of the things I actually wanted to ask Tom about last week when he was on was rules, and you know, he's travelled around a lot. He's competed at a few different spots. It was like different rules and regulations. But in general, what's your opinion on rules, Michael? Are you a man that follows rules generally in life?
I have to go in on the day and have a look and see what's written on the board, most things are legs. And hopefully none of my competitors in the future ever
you mean in jiu-jitsu specifically? Yeah.
Oh, in rules in life?
Yeah,
fuck that, walk on the grass. Fuck that.
I was going to ask that first to try and see if there are any parallels into jiu-jitsu.
No, I think I'm better at following rules in jiu-jitsu than I am in fucking real life.
Yeah. As we've talked about before, both of us have had driving bans at one time or another.
Yeah, and, just back from mine. I'm actually someone or not, fucking fine thing I have form to fill out now. You actually reminded me.
Plead the fifth on that one, mate. Yeah.
But
let's not incriminate ourselves too far. But obviously, there's rules in the house and there's rules in competition. I wanted to kind of get into both, but I think competition rules might be the easiest place to start because, even if you're not a big fan of rules, you must admit that a competition has got to have some rules.
Yeah, you have to for your safety.
By definition, otherwise it's
a brawl, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a competition. It has to have a structure to make it what it is.
I suppose it's the rule sets really that set the martial arts apart as well, isn't it? I mean, jiu-jitsu without elbows they've combat jiu-jitsu now as well. So
we slapped open palm striking, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
and Bas Rutten has that mad one then as well in that kind of. It's like a mat that
that's
concaves
like
in.
Karate stuff. That's let's.
We just went off on a mad tangent.
Went on a mad tangent, but you're right. The rules do make that. I mean, if jiu-jitsu had no grappling, was stand up in a concave arena, then it would be just combat karate. But let's focus on
just before we get into it, because we're going to go into something. So do you know the way you think a black belt is the most dangerous person? Like you'd say, geez, don't fuck with a black belt.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know the way you have training partners, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, and sometimes you're doing jiu-jitsu a good bit longer than me, but I've never tapped you. So are you as dangerous as a black belt to me? I mean, because you could fuck me if you wanted to. I'd give you a bit fair. I mean, Dom would fuck me easier. No, sorry, Dom, but
fucking hell.
Keep
jiu-jitsu going. We've got to get Mike one of those shirts. They've restocked as well on the BT.
Yeah, I tried and they don't sell them to the UK. B-Team fucking up your game. I was going buying 2 of them.
As if anyone's listening.
But I'm just saying, has anyone ever thought of that? Do you know the way you'd always say the purple belt is dangerous and whatever belt is dangerous? But there's a couple of lads in the gym that I haven't tapped that are on my own level.
I think this is I don't think anyone's thought like this. I don't think anyone else's mind works the way yours does, Michael. I've got to be honest. This isn't a thought that I'd.
No, I'm not saying the fucking thing is obviously a bit of comedy, but I'm just saying hopefully I don't get fucked.
Yeah.
But that some people you'd say the black belt's dangerous or he's a brown belt, he's dangerous. You wouldn't want to mess with him. But some blue belts could be equally as dangerous to someone that's untrained. I mean, I'm trained. Trained. I'm using inverted commas here. People can't see, but maybe when we get to YouTube up and run, you'll be able to see these things. But it's like I've never tapped you, and a lot of other lads as well. And it's just
the Qui-Gon Jinn thing, right? There's always a bigger fish. That's kind of how it works, you know. A blue belt's better than a white belt. A white belt with 4 stripes is better than someone who hasn't trained. A purple belt's generally, and obviously these are generalisations, they're going to be better. But
what would your opinion be on that now? Or would you have an opinion on it? Do you just think it's?
I don't know if I understand your point enough to have an opinion, mate. I think you're just kind of explaining how things. I don't know if there's an answer. I don't know if it's a question. It just seems like you've made a statement that there are some people that are better than others.
Oh yeah, well okay, yeah, that's a fair way of summing it up. And people that have your mindset are just going, what the fuck is that going blabbling on about there for the last 2 minutes?
So competition rule sets. We were
getting back to
getting back to
real
what
stuff.
I wanted to talk about rather than
nonsense. I just came up with.
I'm joking, mate. It's like I say, we haven't got a plan for this one, so flying by the seat of our pants. We haven't got another guest to kind of keep us on a topic. So but the main two comp rule sets that are about at the moment are the IBJJF ones, which most of the UK competitions are under, and the ADCC rule set, which I know you've competed under, and I want you to tell that story to us in a little bit. Obviously, there's Grappling Industries as well, which is the round robin, which the rule set's very similar to IBJJF.
They've changed a few things as well. Yeah. They've drawn little.
They've got their own weight categories, and they've got their own. They've got their own kind of structure to the tournaments and a few of the rules. But generally, like, I think the biggest difference is between the IBJJF and the ADCC ones. Like with the IBJJF point system being the one that everyone knows, with the 2 points for takedowns, sweeps, knee on belly, 3 for passing, 4 for back and mount. ADCC doesn't have points for the first half of the.
I think it's like
for the first half of the match. So like if you're doing like the sort that you did, it would have been a 6-minute match, eh? So for the first.
Mine was a final, so the finals are 8 minutes. So
okay,
I know
so you had 4 minutes with no points and 4 minutes with points, or if it was under the ADCC structure. But then the points themselves are more around takedowns. I need to get that cough.
Sorry.
Need to get that cough button installed. You did pretty well to cover it. So the points are around like the cleanness of takedowns. So like if you get a sweep and a takedown that's considered clean, so you land in side control, that's 4 points. One that isn't clean, so you land in the guard, would be 2 points for both sweeps and takedowns. And then I think mount's only 2 points.
He's looking at me there, and I'm like,
So
I'm like, I just, if I take someone down, I look up and I give a sneaky look back to the board 3 seconds later and see what happens.
Whatever points go up. So
I remember being in a match one time, it was 9 points up. Like, how the fuck did I get there?
Which is hilarious, because I was going to say I wanted your opinion on it, because I've only really competed under the IBJJF or modified IBJJF rule sets. And there's some stuff in that I really like with the points. One thing I don't understand with the ADCC ones is, why would you only start points halfway through the round? Like if you want to make it submission only, do submission only, which is obviously another rule set which we can talk about our opinions on in a bit. But like, if you're going to have points for the entire round. I don't know. You've got to.
Well, I could only think that when the match goes to the ground and nobody's gained any points, it would make people work harder while they're on the ground, unless, of course, both people stand up after or something like that, which is a big funny story about when I get to actually tell my story. But I don't know. I'll just go in. I'm kind of just
do you ever look at the rules before you don't even know what?
Just to see what I can't do.
So you look at the submissions that are
illegal
or not legal. Yeah, that's one of the big things with ADCC, is they've got more stuff that's legal, especially at the lower belts like blue belt, and slamming, which I think is a big flaw in IBJJF. If someone's got a triangle, or like if you've got an armbar on someone and they pick you up, they have to put you down gently. Whereas in ADCC you can slam to get out of submissions, which I think for I guess for recreational hobbyists, probably isn't the best, but for actual real world application, it's
especially in ADCC, everyone's juiced to the absolute fucking gills, allegedly. So imagine getting slammed by a guy like that can probably fucking bench press 220 kilos and he's picking you up and you're 90, like.
They actively don't test. Yeah, maybe the IBJJF's got something to be said there. Can you put me down gently, please?
I don't like being here in the sport where we fucking try to kill each other. Can you lay me down gently?
And another thing that I raise an eyebrow at, but actually low-key might think is a good rule with the ADCC rule sets, is that they penalise guard pulling. So if you pull guard at any point, you get a negative point.
In ADCC?
In ADCC rule sets, yeah. So it's a negative point. I love that you raised an eyebrow there, like you've competed under it. You've got no clue of any of this.
I don't ever pull guard.
No, not me. But they deduct a point for that, and I think, I think that's quite a good thing to do. If you're going to put yourself in a disadvantaged position because you feel you've got an advantage for there, I think you should take a penalty to do so. Or do you?
This is the first time I'm processing the thought of it now. Yeah. I suppose. Look, it's like it's good to have different rule sets. I suppose, to create these opportunities for people that want to compete in a different way. I suppose. Well, maybe the reason it was set up was because they thought that was the best way to make matches more active, because what IBJJF really gone to the dogs, and now it's only getting a resurgence lately. Is that correct, or am I wrong?
I don't know. I don't know about that. I think it's been the biggest kind of. It's been the only real like that. The Worlds is IBJJF. Pan Am's is IBJ. All the big tournaments have been IBJJF, and it's just the ADCC was like.
Or is it more that the gi was gone dead and no gi was rolling for a couple of years, and now the gi has taken a resurgence?
I definitely think there's been a resurgence in the gi. But I think that's partly to do with the athletes that are competing in it at the moment. If, the Worlds has just finished. He lost in the final, but Tyne Dalper's brought a lot of interest back to it, and I know that Merigali wasn't competing at this one, but he's brought attention back to the gi recently. But I do think that. Most of the eyes are on no gi.
Wasn't there a load of people banned for taking steroids there?
That was not at the Worlds, the last big IBJJF tournament before that, like a load of the podium, because they only test the first and sometimes the second. So loads of them pop.
If they did Tour de France, it'd be like that. They'd probably have to go to 19th place, like Joe Rogan's story that he always tells.
Go down to the 19th place and to give the jersey because everyone else is tested. But ADCC as an organisation only existed for it used to be every 2 years, right? It was like kind of the equivalent of the Olympics of grappling, and now they've had a big investment in these regional ADCCs like all over. Yeah,
Ireland has one. England's one is in July this year.
I believe so. They've got like ones like statewide ones across the states, which is obviously a big investment in. They're putting a big investment into no-gi grappling because they're no-gi only. So they're growing the game in that direction, and obviously they pay their athletes, which the IBJJF is renowned for not doing, so you can win Worlds and not get a penny. But I think you're right. I don't think there's a right and a wrong with the rule set.
You should compete under a rule set that suits you, shouldn't you?
What do you think about submission only? Like I know the EBIs,
I like it.
The EBIs used to be submission only. Then they do that shootout at the end where you.
Yeah, I don't like that part at the end.
I don't like that. But how do you think no time limit sub only then?
I like that. But and this is coming from man with zero cardio. And I like it. That competition wouldn't be for me. But I still like the idea of it. I do like submission only. Yeah.
Yeah, because we did that one sub only
caged.
That one at Fight City,
Yeah, and caged.
Caged BJJ, and that was a bit weird because it was a 5 or 6 minute round, and then if it was no sub.
Dodgy refs.
The refs made a decision at the end, and the home gyms seemed to get landslide decisions that day. But I don't know how I feel about. I think maybe for the pureness of the sport, like a no time limit sub only match is probably the most pure version of it. But as a spectator, it can be damn boring.
Yeah, boring.
Those 40, 50 minute matches. If you've watched any of them.
I don't. You don't Instagram with highlight reel clips from minutes.
But that would be also like I've heard an analogy where someone's like the most pure version of football is two guys dropping jumpers on a park and playing with like a crushed up Coca-Cola can. You know what I mean? It's like the essence of the game is still pure in it, and it's like but who the fuck wants to watch it? And that's kind of how I feel about sub only. I think it's maybe if you
Gordon Ryan is kind of the king of that, isn't he?
He's a big believer in it, and I think it kind of suits.
It suits his style,
his game. But for me, I think like 15, 20 minutes of guys really trying to, kill each other. Really going for subs rather than that no time limit. That no time limit format really encourages people to play a slower game. Then less. We've got to be hyper cautious to making mistakes early on, and it becomes a bit more of a war of attrition. But like you say, I think it is horses for courses. I think rolling a no time limit sub only would be incredibly challenging and incredibly fun. But watching it's like watching paint dry. Whereas some people might not.
I think a lot of jiu-jitsu is like that as well. That's why I don't watch a lot of it. But it's obviously getting a lot more flashier as well. I think even the last Worlds and stuff like that, you're seeing all these mad submissions and things coming about. As I say, I don't follow, but I've seen clips and have held my attention. But obviously they're edited in the right way.
Yeah, and like we've said with ADCC, the emphasis on takedowns, the scoring system being built around that encourages those big flashy takedowns, which is obviously eye-catching.
Style points.
And then the fact it is no-gi, which tends to be more dynamic and more kind of spectator friendly.
100%.
Because there's less lapel game, less
Yeah, people don't know what's going on, but they can't see when you're on side and you're trying to work, grab inside, and your weight's on top of someone, you're in mount. You can't see what he's doing with his hands, and I think a lot of that's eliminated when they're when you're just in a rash guard and shorts, like, you know, or spats or whatever, you know.
Yeah, and they obviously think it's the future because they're pumping all this money into these, like, you know, to rival the IBJJF with, you know, a whole tournament circuit that people can run. And you turned out to one, eh? Was it Sofia? Bulgaria?
Sofia, yeah, Bulgaria. Shout out to Bobby Yanikov. Yeah. Or Borislav Yanikov, his full name, we'll give it to him. Or Bulgarian Bobby, or AKA the Monster, as I call him. He's probably the best competitor in our gym. I don't think that'd be...
I think there's a few that could be mentioned in the same mouthful as him, but he's definitely got the...
I'd say he has the most. I don't think anyone's competed as much as him in the last 2 years. I could be wrong, but I don't know. There was one point there where he just seemed to be competing every competition that was coming up, and he's always had these just going off to give him a bit of shine. He's had, like, the last 2 matches that I was competing and he was in the same competition. He lost his first match, and he beats the guy in the final that he lost against, and it's 4 or 5 fights, like, so it's not as if it's just like 2 and done or something like that, like, and there was two competitions like that, and he's getting these goals, so I'll give him his props on that. But getting back to it anyway, so he said, "Do you want to go?" And I said, "Yeah." And
he said because I remember he invited us all over. He always wanted to do a comp in his home country. So he was like, "I'm going to go and do this one in," and then
ADCC.
When was it? It was last year,
last
right?
October or else last August, something like that. So I said, "Yeah, go." And ended up going. He was cutting weight. I went the weight class up, so I didn't have to cut weight because I don't believe in cutting weight.
Have a few pints on the flight that way.
Yeah, unfortunately. So we flew in at about 8 o'clock in the morning, I think, or maybe 9 o'clock in the morning.
Was that of the comp day?
No, so the day before. You could weigh in. It's all cash as well, and the one in London I see is all cash. They take cash. They don't take any debit card or anything like that, so make it out what you will. It's all cash passing.
ADCC worldwide money laundering.
Yeah, that's what it's allegedly. But we landed real early, so we got settled into the hotel, and we went for something to eat. Bobby couldn't eat because he was cutting weight, so I'm there with a big steak in front of me, bottle of cider, standard, you know. We're eating away. His missus, my missus.
The smaller ones are every 5 kilos, right? The weight categories, or don't you remember?
You know me now.
This is what I mean, ladies and gents. He flies out to Bulgaria to fight in compete in a cash-only tournament. He's got no idea of the rules. He's got no idea of the weight categories, and it's 24 hours out. And he's what?
I was So I think it was 91 point something and 85.5, and there was no way I was making 85.5. I think I was 87. I'd like to say I was 87. But, like, there was no worry with weight, so I had a couple of bottles of cider. We did kind of touristy stuff, just walked around. I had a couple of bottles of cider all day. I had about 8, I'd say, long necks now, not pints. But we went in, we weighed in at 6 o'clock. All these lads are there with their tops off, they're in their underwear weighing in, like, taking it completely serious, with the Tupperware boxes beside them. You know what I mean? Like, this proper, these guys are, and they're all juiced to the absolute fucking hilt, and I have no problem in saying that. Like, you can see, this lad had traps up these fucking eyeballs, like. But, so they all weighed in, so that's it. Bobby could eat. We got something to eat. I think he had, like, 2 beers. I had another 2. I think we had 1 more.
So that's the day before, was it?
Day before, yeah.
Oh,
okay. So we said, look, it was getting a bit late. We go back to the hotel room, and as we were walking back, I was after getting a bit of a thirst for it. So they had I went across the Lidl. They had Somersby cider, so I got a case of Somersby cider, took it up to the hotel room with me. Drank about another 5 or 6 bottles. I should actually say the reason I'm not generally this much of a dickhead during competition, but previous month to that and 2 weeks as well before the competition, I got armbarred really bad. I was trying to work my way out of 2 armbars. It wasn't anyone else's fault, only my own. And I was trying to escape an armbar, and I got armbarred properly, and my arm was fucked. And then as that was healing, the same thing happened on my other one. And
so you were drinking to take the pain away? No,
I was just like, it was like that kind of mentality where, like, my 2 arms are fucked anyway. Who gives, what's a couple of drinks like? So I woke up next morning, fine, not a bother. We went down, we had something light to eat, and we got ready for comp. So it was warming Bobby up anyway, just to fast forward a bit, because I know I'm capable of dragging things out. Warming Bobby up in so it was a big massive it was like a school gym, and it had everything there, and below it warm-up rooms where I actually think the jiu-jitsu club of Sofia is, or one of them. So we were down in their place warming up on the mats.
Okay.
And Bobby was warming up with me, and I think they thought I was English, and we were rolling, and Bobby said warm me up, like, so I was warming him up, and I gassed out after about 2 minutes of us getting the first warm. We stretched and done all that. 2 minutes in, I sent the lads a message into the WhatsApp group. I'm like, I've only been running 3 minutes, and I'm gassed already, like.
After 10 drinks the night before.
Yeah, it was, yeah, obviously. But so we banged into this guy rolling, and Bobby apologised in Bulgarian, and your man spoke English back to him, and it kind of, I think it set a fire in him, because he was like, he thinks I'm English. I was like, how do you mean he thinks you're English? You're fucking clear size here. You're clearly Bulgarian, like, you're a monster, like. And he goes, I think I'm English or something. I was like, that's fucking stupid, anyhow. So he competed first. I think did he do all his matches first? I could get the running order this wrong, but
it's alright, mate. No one will hold you to it. You didn't even know the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
so
if you remember the order you guys fought in, then that'll be a...
Yeah, I think he competed first, and I think he did all his matches. I think that's what happened. I could be wrong. Or maybe he did 3 and then I competed in the middle, and then he had his final. That could have happened. So 4 guys I think he competed against.
Because you just had the one match.
I had one. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, there was supposed to be 2 guys in my weight class, but there was only one. I just have to remember something else about it. But so the guys were juiced to the tits now, and when I say like they were huge, like Bobby, you know Bobby. Bobby's a large guy. Like, these guys had muscles under muscles. Like, how they made the weight that he was. So I think he might have been on points. He beat 2 of them, and maybe one by submission, or they could have been all on points. Not sure of that, but like absolute, like going. Beat these guys, got into the final, and I think the steam was taken. This guy was a lot lighter. I would say he wasn't actually juiced, this guy, if I'm recalling it correctly. But he was just so bothered.
From your extensive medical tests that you performed on all of these, all of these.
Yeah, I have the sight test, I have a smell test. Like, from someone, when you do it yourself, you kind of, there's these telltale signs.
Listen, they're compares. If Mike's sniffing you in the bullpen, it means he thinks that you're on juice.
But he just ended up losing in the final, and I just think it was because he had such wars with these guys, like, and there were 6 minutes. The final was 8 minutes, because final in ADCC is 8 minutes. So then I had my match. The guy was really large, and like, I was just like, oh fuck the size of this fella, like, oh my god.
Because you'd have been what, in the under 90 category, something like that.
He was definitely all of 91 kilos anyway, and I was, I'd say 87, probably 88 with the fucking kilo of alcohol I drank the night before.
The water retention from the booze.
But so we locked up anyway, and it was clear from the first minute that he wasn't going to pull guard, and neither was I, because
neither of you wanted that point deduction, even though you didn't know it existed.
Yeah, so we're just collar tying. He tried to get, like, it's basically just to tell it truthfully, right? It's an 8-minute round. I think we were standing for 7.5 minutes. And back then my guillotine was kind of shit hot, and I don't think I'm being unfair saying that, because it was around that time I subbed a couple of people that would have been higher belts than me, and I was going quite well with it. But I had him in a front headlock, and I had him down.
Yeah, snapped him down.
I snapped him down, and I had him held there. But I knew for me to jump it, I had to have it tight in this guy, because most people are scared. And I was like, it's not there. And Bobby's there on the sideline in the video, even going, Michael, do your thing, you know. And I was just there, no, it's not there. And I just pulled him down a bit more, and I don't even know how I seen it. Like, it was the first time, I think, in fucking, that I can actually clearly remember in jiu-jitsu, I seen something that was like, there's a pat there for something that, and I don't even know where it came from. And it's just, as I pulled him down, I seen I could pull him here and have his back. And I just pulled him down, and I got the 2 hooks in, and instantly got the choke locked in, and there was 10 seconds left. He was like, 10 seconds, Michael, and I'm just putting it in, and like, I'd say probably on 5 or 3, he tapped, like, and it was just brilliant. Like, there's a picture of me, I have it on my things, like, and it looks like I'm screaming or something, but I'm actually just exhaling so hard my whole mouth is open.
You're so gassed.
But your man was, sorry, the thing I forgot that I was saying earlier, remember, we were on about hygiene, yeah? So I looked at my nails and I said, they're not too bad. And as we were hand fighting, I think I cut him like twice on his arm. And I was like, oh my God, and I pointed to it at one stage and I said, I'm sorry about that, man. as we're grappling, like, I think he was looking going, you made me draw my own blood, but.
No, I'm glad Ray got to finish, because you obviously sent the video to us all afterwards, and it was like probably 7 minutes of what I can only describe as pat a cake wrestling, where you're going to go in between collar ties, not fantastic hand fighting. But from the point, it was nice that you got to finish the way you did, because from the point you snapped him down to take his back and then actually finish it, it was like...
It looks good. I mean, the best part about it is, I don't say it as much anymore, but like, I'd always say, well, have you got an ADCC gold medal? Yeah,
and that's what I was about to say. You can claim one thing that...
And the gym got it as well, so like even... I think Bobby Silver was worth way more than my gold, and...
Because the path there was harder.
Yeah, and like I respect it more, and especially how he trained and he cut weight and everything like that. And I feel like a bit of a dickhead for it, but one of the lads said to me, like, you can't manage who's in front of you, and like all it's going to show is you got the submission and got gold, whether it was one match or whatever. Like if there wasn't 4 matches for you to have, thank God. You know what I mean? But I mean, that's just the way it is. But I'm still going to make that joke every now and again about having an ADCC gold medal.
As you should, mate. You went out there, you earned it. You paid your dues.
Yeah.
So I think obviously it's the rules that make the comp, and it's the comps that are fun. So fair play to you, mate. That's a big achievement. You talked about shredding your man to pieces with your fingernails, which kind of segues quite nicely into the next section of rules I wanted to get into, and this is what I really wanted to pick Tom's brain on, was the house rules.
Yeah.
When you go to not from competitions, but like the house rules that you'll get when you drop into different gyms, and we'll loop back on it, because you can't talk too much about hygiene, and you can't miss a chance to mention Paddy's lack thereof. So as we mentioned a few weeks ago, hygiene, cutting your nails, there are rules like that, wash your gi after every training session, that I think are they're kind of commonplace in most gyms, and they're a good thing.
There's another person here and there that still needs to like wash their gi, please. Yeah,
there should be public service announcements about that, especially in the white belt class is high turnover of members. Some people might not know. So Mike, I'll tell Dom when at the next beginners course you want to go and give a talk on personal hygiene before it starts.
I remember Zach was teaching a class one day, and he was like, I can smell it. He says, if I find out who it is, because he knew, like, and I remember being those 2 lads inside talking to him. I was like, I forgot to wash my gi. And he still put it on and came out, and I was just like, I'm not rolling with you, mate. Do you know what I mean? And I'm definitely having a good hot, long 10-minute shower getting rid of this shit. Like,
there's no
I mean, it's hard to call someone out. Like, you have to pull them aside and have a word in their ear, because I mean, people that don't know as well, and when you're young guys as well, like, young guys don't have fucking any hygiene is not paramount. Like, it's like, let's just go and do this thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just more over enthusiasm.
That's what I mean.
If Mammy hasn't washed the gi, they're kind of fucked. Like,
Yeah, and like I say, I think that's a good rule. I think we're quite lucky at Matt House. I think there's a mix of good and bad rules. Like at any gym. I don't think we've got too many of the quirky ones.
What do you think is a bad rule?
Sense. So what in terms of bad rules, like for me personally, like, so not so much from Matt House, but like when I was travelling, I saw some kind of quirky ones, shall we say, that are tying a bit more into the traditionalism. So, like, I've already talked about being in Rio and moving on to Ilha Grande. After that, I moved down the coast a bit to a few coastal towns where I actually just was on the sesh and didn't train at all.
Yes, man, after my own heart.
And then I bumped into a bunch of English backpackers that loved the sesh, and we ended up...
that doesn't sound like English people at all.
We ended up getting lost on the sesh for a few days, which was really nice. But I ended up parting ways with them in Sao Paulo, which is obviously, Sao Paulo and Rio are the
two main biggest cities.
The homes of jiu-jitsu, like the Paulista kind of tournament circuit. It's like where loads of people would have come up, like Merigali and the Meow Brothers, people like that, you know, like household names or big.
Okay, I know Marigali, but I don't know whoever.
Yeah, Meow Brothers are kind of like generation before that, like big.
I know Megaton Diaz is because he can beat it in Coral Belt. Look at me in my knowledge. He's the first Coral Belt.
Mackenzie Dern's old man.
Yeah.
So he'd be several generations above the Meows. But anyway, Sao Paulo, lots of big jiu-jitsu gyms there, like the Alliance HQs there and stuff like that. Right. And I think I mentioned it when we were talking with Tommy, actually. I didn't end up training there because I went there and it was like, I think it was either 100 or 200 reals for the training.
Oh, you ran about the rash.
And then I had to rent, like, if I didn't have their branded gear, I had to rent a branded gear, and that kind of segues into the point of like, a rule that I think's bad is I'm not...
Uniform.
Don't get me wrong, by all means sell your own branded. I think it looks really cool for the gradings when everyone's wearing the same like branded gears and you know it's all kind of members of a team, but enforcing that people only train in and wear those for me is a bit of a red flag. I didn't end up training there. I ended up going to a checkmat in Villa Madalena, which was a much smaller gym, but I you know, they let me wear my own blue King's gi that I had rolled up in my backpack, and you know, they kind of...
Yeah, like the idea of a uniform is nice and it always looks more professional, but like people want to have their own creativity. Like jiu-jitsu is about having your own creativity, isn't it? Like
you want to express you're in a lemon.
Yeah. Like I have a fucking piss yellow gi, like, you know what I mean? Wait until you see the set I've coming. I actually have a set. I'm going to post the picture up on the Degen thing.
Nice. We'll get that because there's been an announcement with that as well. Like.
Yeah, there will be.
Nice.
Something for it.
But yeah, no, like you say, you want to express a bit of your personality. You know, there's how better to do that with a bright pink
or
rash guard
or whatever you're into, like.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not worse than if a fella actually smashes it and he's wearing all pink, like. Do you know, in jiu-jitsu.
One of the guys that drifted through our gym, that Gaz fella a few weeks ago.
Crack jiu-jitsu, I think. He just won the Open this year again.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I knew they had a good team going there. Yeah, Purple. But he was saying that where they train, there's a bunch of SAS lads that come in and train, and he's like there with his blue hair and like pink spats, like slim fella, like tapping them all out, and he's like, it's
just heel hooking every kind.
It's a good feeling, but yeah, no, shout out to him. But so I'd definitely say uniform policy, in my opinion, is quite restrictive and maybe bordering on a little bit culty. Another one that
I think it's a ego. What would you call it? It's like ego of the people that own the gym. Like you all have to wear my gear and be seen in my gear, and I think it's not a case of it's just our uniform. It's like you have to be seen in it. This is the only thing you can wear.
That was another one. Even when I trained at that little checkmat, this was a rule that was quite common in Brazil, and like. As I think I said in the first or second episode, when I was training out there, like it was really common for me to go into a Tuesday morning class at 6 a.m. and have 10 black belts on the mat. Whereas like in the UK, you might have a couple. You know, Farnborough's an old club, and the most you see there's maybe 2 or 3 on the mat in a session. Like
it could be
it could be more, but like the what I'm saying is they have a rule in a lot of gyms where you don't ask high belts to roll. So you
I think that's weird as well.
So you can only be invited to roll by high belts, and me being out there as a white belt gringo, sometimes it's like I really would like to get around in, especially like as a guest, but you don't want to insult anyone. I think that's a bit of like you're saying with the kind of ego element. I don't know, but I'm saying this obviously as a.
It might be a thing of that they don't want to get injured against someone that they're not sure about as well, but yeah, I think
that's a good point as well. Actually, rolling with trusted partners, but that I think a good rule is that you can always say no to a roll.
Yeah, that's true. I think
that don't prohibit the asking for the roll. Just make it accepted that no means no, Michael.
Yeah. Why are you telling me? I don't know where to go with that. I'm actually stumped. It just lost my whole train of thought. Just derailed it.
I thought there was.
Am I going to get me too in the next episode?
I thought you were there. There was someone was asking.
No, I wasn't there.
No. It was someone was asking somebody to roll and they didn't want to roll and they said no, and then they were like, oh, do you want to just drill or something? And they were like, no means no. And it was like in a jiu-jitsu context. Sorry, I thought you were involved in that conversation. So my bad. I thought that was an in joke.
At least it was only that.
Turns out it was only funny to me, but yeah, I think that's a weird rule. One of the ones we have that I like is no spats without shorts.
Oh, you have to, yeah. Who wants a dick flapping around the place?
Flapping around all over the place.
Or just sticking out like mine might be, you know what I mean? Small penis syndrome, you know.
Jesus. Kick jiu-jitsu gagging. We talked about contracts, actually. That's another rule with gyms.
What's it?
You know, some gyms have like a 12-month contract or like a 6-month contract.
And I think they're money spinners.
Yeah.
They're the same people now that would be... your belts are given by your attendance, I'd say, more so than...
Also probably the sort of gyms that don't allow cross-training as well. It all falls into that. We've got...
Give me my money, I'm over you, probably same uniform and all that crack, yeah.
What's your opinion on having to do burpees if you turn up to a class like?
Do you know what, I hate burpees, and I didn't sign in on the app, which is kind of one of the things we get burpees for, and I did it 2 days in a row, I forgot it. Do you know what? I've signed in the app every day since. I think punishment. I think you fuck up, you should get punished.
I yo-yo on it because I feel like you know, it is a service that you're paying for, and you know, we're all adults with a life. It's not, you know, it's not like a kid's turning up to boxing class. It's like you've got stuff that you know you get on with, and you can be late. But equally, I need
a firm hand, or I'll go mental. It's like you say, I follow rules. Actually, I think it falls into that. It's like maybe, do you know, purple belts get warm-ups and stuff. I think like I need a bit of structure, and if I get disciplined for, we'll say something that wouldn't, you know, like they say you're late, so you shouldn't be late, even if it doesn't matter. If I think I'm going to be 5 minutes late, I don't go to class.
Yeah, and I mean, like, for the sake of the guy taking the class, you know, you've got to have some sort of, generally you've got to have some sort of like line that you draw. You know, you can't have someone rocking up 40 minutes into an hour-long class and being, oh, can I just jump on the mat for rolling? It's like,
no.
And if you do, I guess the burpees are a way of making sure they're warmed up so they don't risk injuring themselves. So I do think, you know, I yo-yo on it. Like
it's hit and miss, isn't it?
I hate doing burpees. I think that's the problem.
Leave that Connor steps.
Yeah, the other one that I think I've heard mentioned as a bit of a squirrely kind of rule is belt testing. Or like only being, like, I know I don't want to talk too much shit about gradings because we have a grading day, which is actually quite a cool day when when everyone will meet up, and like, you know, we'll generally go for a few drinks afterwards, and you know, it's good to have everyone there, especially with some of the bigger promotions, like you know, like Shaz getting his black belt recently. That was nice to have. What felt like a community of people celebrating that together.
There was a lot of people promoted that way that like actually fuck with on the mat, and I think like are good people, you know, so it's good to see that, yeah.
But just to be clear, our gym doesn't do the promotions only on grading day. You know, it's not like you have, if you miss that you have to wait 6 months. It's like, you know, the coach Dom will give you belts, you know, if you weren't able to attend, he'll give you a belt just on a Tuesday afternoon, like after training. Just pull one out, and like when people are leaving, you know, if he knows it's going to be their last session and they're right on the cusp, like Pad got his last session, and Jürgen got his their last session, so he might give you a promotion then, and stripes are just dished out through the year. But yeah, some gyms have like belt testing. Like I remember when I did Taekwondo when I was a kid, you'd have to go to, like, it was again a money spinner.
Yeah.
You'd have to go to a grading centre that you'd pay to be graded by someone that was over from Korea.
Do they do that in jiu-jitsu now, like still? Or?
I don't know. I think I do think there's probably some gyms in the States. I think the States seems to be like bordering on the Wild West. With, you know, you get all sorts there. You've looked at McDojo Life. You get everything from. Although a lot of them are in Russia. We were talking about that at training the other day. A lot of those kind of
mad videos.
Woo martial arts.
They're just hilarious, like.
But no, yeah, I think I've seen on Reddit that some gyms still do belt testing. I think that's obviously again.
Would that be like where we put 2 blue belts against each other, or a blue belt against someone
or like your coach watches you, you know, drill and then roll with a few people, asks you to demonstrate a few techniques in drilling, and then like makes you roll against a few people to see how you get on. And
I think I'm not speaking for the man now himself, like, but I think in our gym he's doing that as he's working, because he's and
that's how it should be done, rather than it to be done.
He's not doing it in one day.
Specific session that maybe you have to kind of like pay for. Or, I don't know. It just seems like
he does always say it on the grading day when he does the specific sparring, like, make sure you're impressing me, like, you know. But I think that's more a motivational thing than anything.
I think he knows well before. He has all the belts laid out when
they're
coming in the door. Anyway.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, but it would give some people an extra kick, like, you know what I mean. It's just another one of them things where it motivate you that a little bit more, even if you're kind of on the cusp. Like I most people don't. I didn't think I was due my blue, but like, who am I to say? You know,
I don't think anyone feels ready for anything, mate. You grow into it. But yeah, I think that's kind. You know, when it comes to stuff like the more traditional rules, generally seem to be a little bit more like they're, you know, the ones that are team, like, you know, don't talk to higher belts, bow before you get on and off the mat, all of that.
I do that. I don't bow getting off the mat, but I do bow going on.
You do like, there's some places I've seen you don't get on the mats before the black belts, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that all of that's a bit like,
it's like you say, culty.
It's a bit culty. Yeah, where do you draw the line? It becomes a little bit culty. The same as, like you say, the money spinning, the rules that are there purely to spin money, like the branded stuff. You've got to wear the branded stuff. You've got to sign up for 12-month contracts. You've got to pay for your belt testing. I think they're all bad, but some of them are common sense. You know, like, don't spike your opponents on their head when you always do takedowns towards the out of the mat. Practice good hygiene.
My first competition in grappling industries, as I say, talking about rule set, looping back as you'd say, I jumped guard because I don't know what way he caught me, but I was like, fuck this, I'm just going to guillotine this cunt, and I jumped the guard, and apparently then he body slammed me, and like, I have it on my Instagram and I put it up purposely because it's just so hilarious to watch him just throw his two legs. He got DQ'd for body slamming me, but I should have been DQ'd for jumping guard. So I went on to the next one and I jumped guard someone else. No, I did. Yeah, I jumped guard on the last guy. Then we rolled a bit and the match had went on a bit, and I think he was in side control on me, and he said, should he have been able to do that? And then the ref goes, well, no, he shouldn't have done that. And they just left the match continue on. I think he subbed me with like 10 seconds to go. And I was like, look, mate, well, at least you got the sub at the end. Like, you know, you got your win properly as well. Like, so, and it wasn't as if I let him. Like,
was he a good sport about it?
He was sound. Everybody. Yeah. It's like at most.
What about the first guy?
The first guy. I was laughing. I actually grabbed him. I said, have you got that video?
Got DQ'd when you should have got DQ'd.
I think we were just both laughing about it. I don't think he was too bad about it. But that was the same time, that was my very first competition. But I got standing guillotine by this massive dude. I was up a weight class in that one as well because I don't cut weight. But he had me in a standing guillotine and then tripped me to land in side control with me still in the guillotine. I must have bayed him like fucking. I was slapping him like mad, like just fucking to get him off. And like he played the proper competition where he waited for the referee to separate. I was like, man, I bet everyone I'd say people sitting 10 rows back could have seen me or heard me slapping his back. Like,
yeah, there's nothing worse than that when like,
I couldn't talk properly for 2 days after.
Hang on to it, waiting for the. I know. Yeah, I guess I'm only salty because my arm got popped. But yeah.
Well, in fairness, I actually won two matches by guillotine from mount, and the ref didn't even see it. Your man tapped me inside, and I let go, and he was looking at us, and your man just happily got up. So he goes, "Oh yeah, well I guess he's happy to just leave him get up off him while raise."
The old Brazilian tap.
Yeah.
No, I had that in one of the first comps where can't even remember. It was I fell back on an armbar, and the guy tapped the inside of my leg. Yeah. And then as I let go, he kind of comes up and was like,
that was in the one we mentioned earlier, wasn't it?
That's submission, caged submission only one. And I ended up getting the ref's decision in the end because I think I was so angry that he denied the tap that I just fucking ran straight through him from there onwards. But yeah, it was one of those.
Turned it up to 11.
Do you have you got any moral rules? We've spoken about comps. We've spoken about the home gym and away gyms. Like, any personal things?
I won't pull a wrist lock, as you know, personally.
White loves wrist locks.
The only reason is, I don't do heel hooks. It's not because I don't do them. It's because I'm not really a leg hunter yet. It's not. My game isn't. My game hasn't evolved to being that good with them.
But you know where you are with them enough to because we do catch and release. When you're in one, you know that.
I know. Like I know how to defend it, and I know what way not to go. But I'll tap early. Like I'll try and defend it for a bit, but like if someone's looking at me and they clearly could just twist it, I'll tap. Like, but my idea of it is, as being a hobbyist, like is the wrist lock thing is we catch and release with heel hooks, but I think a wrist lock isn't something you can really put on. I feel I could fight a wrist lock, which I always do, like out of position. Whereas I think fighting a heel hook, you can actually nearly injure yourself if you fight too much the wrong way.
Yeah, if you don't work way to roll and stuff, you can blow your knee apart.
But like wrist lock, you kind of have to jump in it to make it happen.
You mean like really snap it on?
Yeah, I think you have to, like, because I don't know, maybe it's just my own personal opinion, my own experiences. I mean, I can't speak for everyone else, obviously, but it's like, if I can't write, I can't do my job, and I'm fucked. I mean, I can probably hobble in and out if I don't know what happens when your heel gets broken either. Like, but
normally gets the knee heel hooks. It's either rip your ankle or knee apart.
Yeah, like I can go on crutches into work. Like,
yeah.
But if I can't write, if I can't use my hand, I'm fucked.
Yeah, to be honest though, anyone in a desk job, they can get into work, and especially since COVID, most people have the option to work from home. Like, if you're in a trade, yeah, you're fucked regardless whether it's your hand or your foot. But if it's your hand, almost any job that you do is going to become considerably more difficult. And you got kids and shit, like,
you could be taking money out of somebody.
Thankfully, neither of us do, but
will have.
But yeah, like people that do, it just makes your life infinitely more difficult having a broken wrist. So yeah, I think there's a reason that some of those subs are considered like.
I mean, you could say that really about everything if you really wanted to go into it, I suppose.
That was exactly what I was going to say. I think the reason some subs are called dickhead subs is because, or like cheap subs, is because the way that people throw them on. I think if you're sensible with them. Yeah,
as I say, that's only my own personal belief.
I'd actually written a note that Mike doesn't like wrist locks, so I was going to bring that up in case you hadn't. But
no, man, I always tell the truth.
I don't really have too many moral rules. I'm a bit of an amoral character. And when you said that, like, obviously you made a point down the pub one time that you hadn't tapped me. Like, now that's become a kind of personal vendetta to never, always stay one step ahead. But
the time you said, like, I think, like, I had you close in something. It might have been a guillotine or something, and it was like, I actually heard you snorting. I was like, fucking hell! And then you got out, and you didn't say anything about it, but I went, oh fuck! I was really hoping to get you there. I haven't tapped you, and like I was really close there. And you said, shouldn't have told me that, mate. You're never going to tap me now. And
so
the saga continues.
Friendly banter between the two of us. I'm sure it'll come one day, mate. We're not that far apart, and as I say, I've got no delusions of grandeur. Which ties in with my actual, like, probably only moral rule is I hate teaching jiu-jitsu. I think that, you need to be bordering on, you need to know what you're teaching. And the thing that I'd like less than me teaching is when you see someone else that doesn't know a technique teaching. And I don't want to say white belts teaching white belts, but that is obviously that typifies this, but also, like, and it's the reason I don't like teaching. And if somebody asked me to show them something that I've done, like in a roll, I'll be like, this does come with the caveat that, like, I'm a very average blue belt, and
you're really playing yourself down, in my opinion.
This is the way I do it. But, like, people have got no. I think on one of the Daisy Fresh documentaries there was like a thing about it where they, unless you know something, and it's competition tested, you've got no place teaching that. And
I agree big time. That I'd often have a couple of white belts ask me stuff, and even I was in Farnborough last day and I was showing young fella how to guillotine. But, like, I said, look, don't really take everything I'm saying as gospel, because like, there's probably something I'm missing, or some. Do you know when you learn something wrong?
Yeah.
You always do it wrong, isn't it?
We did like in class. We did an armbar, a couple of armbar options from S mount last night, and like I've been in that exact class at least 3 times, and I still picked up details from it, which lets me know. The hilarious thing is that on open mat on Sunday, one of the white belts asked me to show him that armbar from S mount because I caught him with it in the week before.
Okay, yeah.
And, like, I remember doing it yesterday and just being like, I taught him this so badly. I just thinking to myself, like, oh my God, he really needs to learn this off of someone better than me. And it just kind of reinforced my point there, because I was really reluctant, but he was there with his kid at open mat, and I was like, yeah, go on then, mate. Like, I'll show you. But if you're listening to this, mate, go ask Dom to show you it, because he'll give you the details you need.
There's a fear always, like, I mean, sometimes to ask questions, like, even when you're in the situation, you're not picking it up, like, it's kind of like that awkwardness that you'd have, and I think a lot of people are awkward in one way or another. Like, some people even, like, I'm not well, look, I can be outgoing with a few drinks me or stuff, but in the certain situations, like, I'm just fucking kind of nervous person, same as anyone else, like, and I'd often think, like, geez, I want to ask, like, but you wouldn't, and that's kind of, again, another slight on me than not the coaches or anything else, like. And I think there's a lot of people in that boat that would be like, I'm not getting this detailed, but I'm too afraid to ask.
Yeah, I think you should always want to ask questions. That's another rule, actually, for how like home rules, gym rules. always like any gym that doesn't let you ask questions or doesn't have an opportunity
He always,
to ask
Dom
questions.
always says any questions.
Yeah, he'll come round and problem solve while you're drilling, and then he'll ask for questions at the
And
end.
he says, Michael, why are you doing it wrong? You should ask me some questions.
Why do you never do what I show you? It's like,
That's actually a common theme.
I'm trying.
I think I really bust his head sometimes.
Yeah, I think you do. I think we all do. But he's a good sport with it. But yeah, we've got some cool shit coming up, everybody. So yeah, definitely. I know this has been a bit of a meandering episode, but Mike and me obviously missed each other because we've been going on for 55 minutes now.
Fuck, is it? Yeah.
But yeah, we've got some cool shit coming up. We've got hopefully in the next few weeks, if not months, we'll have one of our mates, Paddy, who I've talked enough shit about, coming in, talking about different learning and teaching styles. What you get out of class, what you get out of privates, as he's been doing a few privates, and he's also a qualified. But I'll let him in. I'll have a more glorious introduction prepared for him on the day that he comes on, but I'll let him explain what he does.
He's scared of that introduction. I'd say how you hurt his feelings.
He fucking should be. We've got obviously some competitors hopefully coming on. Maybe I can't remember who was it you were saying it was going to come on possibly and talk about competing
today. Yeah. Jimmy Wheeler. He's big on the scene. He's Impact.
Is he doing MMA as well as BJJ?
I don't think so.
Is it just jiu-jitsu?
Just jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
Cool.
He's on a lot of. He trains at Impact, which is how we met him. So we might shoot down there. Get him on.
Get a roll in and then get a story, and then we've got obviously Squish, who you can tell he's a colourful character who's done some MMA and jiu-jitsu himself, but also does the judging and puts together teams that, well, if he's still welcome after one of our esteemed training partners was timekeeping for him and didn't ring the bell. I thought it was a 5-minute round and a 3-minute one, but I'll let him tell you the story when he comes on. And then we're going to try a couple of overseas interviews. We've got an announcement that will hopefully be coming next week. Will come with a giveaway, I think. So we got that coming up next week. Keep peeled on that, and then there should be a couple of overseas interviews. So watch me and Mike try and wangle our way round Skype and probably cut the poor fella or lass off several times in the process.
I'm not looking forward to that part of technology now.
This is going to be a treat for all of you. But yeah, where do people get at us if they want to get at us, Mike? We actually, just quickly before that, the results of the GEES survey, it did seem that the majority of people were in that 2 to 4 range.
Yeah.
And then the rest of us,
they're not psychopaths.
Generally fell into the
I'm 5 to 7.
The 5 to 7 range, and then there were a few psychopaths that fell outside that. But I nearly forgot to mention it. And I think what we learned from last episode, if you're in the community, is my memory. My memory is not fantastic. I'd forgotten how many geese Tom had the morning after we had that conversation.
Yeah, 12, I think, was it?
I'd have to swear it was 16, but
it's 22.
Listen to episode 11 and you'll find out. But sorry to run over you there, Mike. Where do people get us? So
if you it's Degen BJJ Pod on all socials. If you go back and listen, if you haven't listened to all the episodes, episode 2, I think a lot of people are probably stopping on 2 because of the high numbers and the fallback doesn't go after it. There was bad audio. We were just finding our feet, but the stories do kind of chain together. You can listen to each episode individually. We're not completely telling a story here, but it will make everything will make more sense if you go back and listen from the start. But Degen BJJ Pod, and the email is obviously degenbjjpod@gmail.com if anyone wants to get in touch for sponsorship or promotions or anything like that. Or just
invite us for a roll. Get in touch, guys, on socials. Let us know what the kind of weirdest gym rules anywhere you've trained are.
You can also, like, the link tree is there on the thing for the WhatsApp. If you want to join the WhatsApp community, there's a few of us from our own gym and overseas as well. We're trying to make it into more advanced thing if we can grow the podcast to where we'd like to be. But for the minute, like, if we're also criticism as well. I put something up. It'd be nice if someone
criticise Mike, guys.
Yeah, criticise me. Yeah. I read them all anyway. I don't have to tell Ken. You know what I mean? Yeah. you can hurt my feelings. It's fine.
But yeah, reach out. We'll put a question up on the Instagram, and you let us know what weird and wonderful rules you've had at gyms you've dropped into or the gyms you train at. But yeah, much love, everybody. As
Cheers,
always,
guys.
Play it to your nan.